Go. Good afternoon. My name is Natalie.
My name is Shelia.
And as always, before we introduce our guest for this week, Shelia and I are going to speak about Military Veteran Peer Network and the Veterans One Stop. So as you know, we provide peer support services that includes one-on-one peer support where you and a volunteer will get together and you get that additional support that you might need. You get to, set the time where you meet, if it's in person, if it's over the phone, and you have that control for that peer support. We also do peer support groups. Currently we have Haven, which stands for Harassment, Assault, Violence Now for sexual harassment or sexual trauma. We also have Pathfinders, which is our general peer support group for our veterans and service members. We have the other side for dependents and family members. We have Yarnaholics, which is our crochet group, and that's open to service members, veterans, and their families. And we also have help me out here.
Open Doors.
Open Doors for all the LGBTQ plus community. Another thing that we do is we assist with community resources. So whether you're looking to file for a claim, employment, housing, rental and utility, literally anything, contact us and we will be able to assist you and refer you to the proper agency that can best fit your needs. Lastly, we also provide different types of training, suicide prevention and awareness trainings. Right now we have SAFE training, which is in collaboration with the VA. We also have a mental health first aid for both a youth and adult. We also have a CALM, which is counseling on access to lethal means, and Ask About Suicide to Save a Life. All of these services are free. So if you're interested in any of this, or if you're interested in volunteering with us, please contact us and we will provide you with more information. And now I will turn it over to Shelia.
Thank you. So I just want to add that we also started back our Right Answers group, which is a creative journaling group. It's really good as far as, getting the thoughts out of your head and onto paper. So we also have that as far as a peer support group. All right, so now I'm going to cover the Veterans One Stop Center and as far as the services that they offer. So they offer free mental health services, free counseling services for veterans, active duty, and their families. When it comes to active duty, it's, National and Reserves are also included in that. It doesn't matter your discharge status. It doesn't matter if you're post 911, pre 911, they're going to get you taken care of. They do individual, they do family, and they do couples counseling. So we also have a couple other agencies housed with us. We have the Veterans Business Association. So if you have a business and you have questions or you want to start a business, they can go ahead and get you squared away. We have an education department. And with that, we have Western Governors University and we have Grand Canyon University. And the good thing about them is they'll answer any general questions you have about education. So if you want to start your educational journey, they can get you squared away and you don't necessarily have to go to their schools. So if you go to UTEP or EPCC or whatever, they'll help you get started on those on that path. We also have TVC, Texas Veterans Commission Claims Department. So if you are trying to start a claim, you want to increase your claim, or you just have questions in general, they can go ahead and get you taken care of. And then of course, we're housed here as well, Military Veteran Peer Network. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest for today. You might recognize him because he used to work with me over here at the MVPN, but now he's with Endeavors. Still love him though. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Tom Moran.
Thank you, Shelia. Thank you, Natalie. And thank you all for what you do. Seriously, we mean that. We, as community partners, I know we work a lot together. I know we sometimes call with some complex cases, and we always depend on y'all. So let me start off by saying thank you for what you do. So again, my name is Tom Moran. I'm the site supervisor for Endeavors Veteran Supportive Services. Endeavors has different departments. They have the Stephen A. Cohen. They have the emergency services, the HSP. But I work specifically for the Endeavors Veteran Supportive Services. In that program, we have different grants, but our main grant is the SSVF grant, which stands for Supportive Services for Veterans and Family. So with this grant, this is for its intent to rapidly rehouse and prevent homelessness among eligible veterans and their family. What's special about this grant, and to backtrack, it's a grant funded by the VA. So nationally, the VA will, provide this grant to different agencies. But in this grant, you're able to work with the veteran and the family. So our main mission is literally homeless and those that are at risk of being homeless. I do have to mention, though, we're not a rental assistance program. We do provide if somebody is imminently at risk of being homeless, that's something that we can. But in the program, we offer different services. So we do offer emergency financial assistance and one-on-one case management services. So this could include, rental, utility assistance, short-term emergency housing if there's no other options are available. Shelters are full. You find yourself, staying in the street. That's on a case by case, but that's offered. We do offer, job placement assistance, assistance in obtaining VA benefits and all that. But the main thing is this: when we have a homeless veteran, and those are at risk of being homeless, we're housing first approach. So the whole idea is we house the veteran and the family, we take him out of the homeless situation, or we stop or prevent the family and the veteran family into entering homelessness. So once we identify housing and we're able to move the veteran into housing, we meet that need, then we start looking at how we're going to stabilize housing stability. Now, we're going to do that through various ways. We look at ways to increase income. We have an employment specialist. So if you're looking for employment, you can work with an employment specialist. We have a healthcare navigator, right? That's within this program. So we start looking at ways we can increase income through earned employment or benefits with the goal of housing stability. And that's the main thing. When they're in our program also, there's different services that we can provide. When it comes to financial assistance, it's on a case-by-case basis. But our financial assistance is aimed at providing that housing stability. So if we have a homeless veteran, they don't have any income, they're on the street, they lost their job, whatever might be the case, we're able to provide, financial assistance such as security deposit, maybe if there's an application fee, rental assistance, and to just get them off the street or get them out of a shelter. When it comes to homeless prevention, so if you find yourself, or you're a veteran and you're a family, and you find yourself, hey, I've exhausted all resources, I don't have any family members, all the rental assistance are not coming through, and you find yourself imminently at risk of being homeless, that's where we come in and we try to avoid that by any means possible. That could be negotiating with the landlord, possibly requesting like, hey, if we cover the arrears, and sometimes that might involve relocating, if depending on the situation. But that's kind of like a summary of what we do. Now, for eligibility, the veteran, so here's the two discharges that you can't have. You can't have a bad conduct with a general court-martial or dishonorable. And you must be under 50% of annual median income. But again, if you're unsure, there's things that we do count as income, doesn't count as income. But that's one of the criteria. You must be 50% of annual median income. And on the homeless prevention, you must be at risk of being homeless. But if you're literally homeless, yes, we do. Our program does emphasize on literally homeless, but we're also do focus also on homeless prevention, trying to really, and we do that through, again, case management. That's the bread and butter of our program here. Is you come in, we start looking at different ways we can increase income. If there's VA benefits, our case managers, most of them have gone through some form of the VSO training, helping gathering, whatever evidence, or walking you through the process, addressing food insecurities. But one of the biggest challenges is a lot of times is identifying housing, especially in this housing market. So if there's barriers and all that, and that's what we start addressing. And how can we get people housed and off the street, off the shelters, and then maintain that housing stability? Because sometimes finding housing might be easier than how do we make sure that you're stable. So that's kind of like broad example of like kind of like what we do. Because our main goal is to make sure we house you and everything goes well. You're never experienced being at risk of being homeless or you're homeless again.
I do have a question. I know you
Yes.
said 50% of the AMI, the median income. Does that
Yes.
include their VA disability, or is it stuff that's taxable?
Yes. So VA disability, SSI, SSDI will count as income. Most of the time, but like VA aid and attendance won't count. Sometimes you have post 911 GI Bill, the Chapter 33, that will count. But if you're using Chapter 31, it used to be called VOC Rehab. Now I think it's the Readiness and Employment Program. But Chapter 31, that does not count as income. So if there's any questions about the income, you can always reach out to us and we can definitely see, earned income, yes, VA disability, interest from like assets, right? So if you have an asset and that's generating interest, but we can always look at it because a lot of times the guideline sometimes changes and things like that. So like, just to give you an example, right now it's going to change, but like right now, 50% of the annual median income for one individual is 23,850, right? And then it goes up for families, right? So like if you have a household of 6, it goes up to 39,500. And then we look at the current situation. So, and this is what the program, I love this program about it because, let's say I'm a family household, I was working, I was paying rent, and I lose the job. We're not going to look at your last W-2. We look at the current situation. If you don't have the job right now, we're looking at what is the current situation. So we're not going to go back. So if we're asking the 3 months pay stubs, is because if you still have the job, right? Because that's a lot of things that a lot of the homeless prevention, especially during COVID, people lost their job. They were paying, they were working, they lose their job, and they find themselves in a position where they're at risk of being homeless. Now, what we will do is a lot of times we do have to exhaust some of the community resources when it comes to homeless prevention, meaning, hey, you've tried to reach out to the county, you've called general housing assistance. But for our assistance, you think that you're imminently at risk of being homeless, right? But we do assist even then, trying to get the resources. And even if, so again, and funds are sometimes limited, but if you find yourself like that with our case managers, we will, we'll definitely, if everything is well, the eligibility, we can also assist with trying to find the resources because we work with community partners. When we're talking about homelessness and homeless prevention, it really takes a community and everyone, agencies, families, social support, any kind of support to have a successful outcome. Yes.
Right. And then one more question I had. Obviously, if they ain't got no roof over their head, they're homeless. But what if they're like couch surfing? You know what I'm saying, going from friend to friend? Would that be considered homeless? Would you be able to assist them if they met all like the income requirements if they're couch surfing, or do they have to stay in a car in a shelter?
Yeah. So we go based off like the HUD definition of homeless. So I'm not going to get into the different categories of all that, but technically that's considered homeless prevention. If I'm doubled up, I don't have a place to stay, I'm bouncing from place to place, and the people that I'm staying with are asking me to leave, right? And if I leave that, if I'm doubled up and I'm leaving that place, I'm going to find myself in a shelter or a street. You're imminently at risk. But absolutely, yes.
I think you covered everything.
Yeah.
You have any questions? All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. We know you stay busy because I know I'm constantly sending you emails trying to help us out. So we greatly appreciate it. But no, thank you for taking your time and coming by and briefing on your program and keep up the great work.
Yes. And one last thing I'm gonna say, right?
Mhm.
If you know of a veteran or family that are either literally homeless or at risk of homeless, even if they don't meet some of our criteria, we do have other housing programs that we can refer to. Or if you're looking at this, or you have a veteran or family that you know that's somewhere in Texas, Endeavors, we cover most of the counties. There's just a few counties, I don't know off the top of my head. But that's something that we can connect you. If you have somebody in Dallas, in Houston, in the Valley, over there in McAllen, and you don't have any, that's something that we can connect you to doing that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, you
All
stay
right.
safe, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Likewise.